Welcome back to another round of composing. Where were we here? Let me do this. Where were we? Let's take a listen to where we left off with this composition. So it sounds like it's taking shape. The thing that struck me off the bat was how really not musical the lead part sounds, this opening thing here. The thing that we started with, the sort of theme. That thing is really not, it's just so flat sounding, not like the pitch isn't wrong. It's just not expressive. But I don't think I'm going to mess around with that right now. I'm not trying to I can make it expressive later. I'm just sort of getting a sense of the progression of the idea and possibly where it's going to go. I think when we left off last time, I was thinking that this is possibly better as sort of a middle idea or something that it develops into. And it feels like it's climaxing, it's growing into something that's going to be, a bit more exciting. So this is driving, it's slowly driving, it's moving, it's growing, and it definitely feels like it's going to sort of explode into something that could be very exciting. I haven't thought about what that could be yet, but as it stands, this whole composition so far, what I have sounds like it could be better as a middle section instead of a beginning. It feels to me like we're starting, what we hear right now is the middle of something. Now, I did want to just extend my drum loop out a little bit. It feels weird hearing that phrase end without the drums. Let me see where it needs to end, actually. Where my drum loop needs to end. But it's getting there. It's a good start, I guess. So we need to take these guys. And let me just drag that out. So I will eventually go back and make the drum loop. I will go back and make the drum loop do something. This is like, I guess, we talked about sketching, and I'm sort of sketching as I go, right? If I'm doing a very specific genre, then I might start with a piano sketch or some other kind of sketch just to get my ideas down, but this is sort of impromptu. Just orchestrating and composing at the same time. Again, we don't have any direction. I'm the director for this. So if instead I had a director who had very specific needs, very specific requirements for this, then I might start with a sketch. And that can actually be a very efficient way to write. But with this, I'm just sort of freeballing it. Anyway, let's hear how it sounds again. I'm getting some ideas. I can almost hear that this melody could continue. And just keep going up or something and really build that tension until it gets to some kind of a breaking point. Maybe that would be a good place to start with this. I also hear some orchestrational tweaks that I want to do, but you get all these ideas at the same time, and you have to take care of things one at a time. What am I doing? Hold on. Just want to get... Did we put horns? I think we put horns in here. Who's playing this? We've got cellos, basses. tuba, and horn. That's right. So I think I want to just experiment. Sorry, I got to do that again. Experiment with this melody. I can feel it wanting to continue to grow. I mean, it gets to a point where we get to this D. Right? We get to this D. Oh, what do I have here? I don't think I like that anymore. I'm going to get rid of that. So we get to this D, and it does feel like we get to, a cadence of sorts. But it might be exciting to get to that cadence, but then continue the energy going more and more, and then actually get to a proper climax. So let me hear this ending, this cadential phrase here. Yeah. Maybe. So one thing I liked at the beginning was the way the trumpet sort of leaned into this dissonance between the trumpet part and the bass melody, and I do like that idea. Let me get the trumpets in here. Here. So between these two parts. So we get this sound, this crunchy sound. So I think it might be useful to bring that dissonance back as an idea to keep the energy moving forward. Now, let me just think about how this is going to go. Like right here. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to, with the samples, I'm going to have to. I don't know. Let me think. Oh, now I'm losing the inspiration. So, right idea, wrong execution. Maybe it would be good now to bring in. I'm going to start copying some of these parts, or this part. Where do I want to put it? Those are all solo horn. So at this point, we don't need. That's cute. Go up a step, would you? There it goes. And you know what else? I just want to see all my parts. We're going to have to duplicate some things to get my idea out. So we need some parts to continue on the D, and then others to continue progressing up the scale. Now this note value of a quarter note is not long enough. Something like that. It must have, I don't know, de-triggered the sustain in this horn. It's giving me a legato, but I know the trigger is in there. It'll do it once we replay the whole thing. So we're going to get a pulsing, increasing intensity, increasing dissonance sort of thing. It's killing me. Let's do the legato. Let's hear the whole thing. Choir in there. I don't like that breath. Dissonance. So, that's, the horn is getting pretty high. So I'm sort of sketching now. Now, it's been so static, it's just been on this sort of, I mean, if we were going to really break down the harmony or the harmonic progression of what's happening here, it's almost exact. It's pretty much a D pedal. So I think the next section, or even the preceding section, which I'm imagining will come before, is probably going to need, for variety's sake, it's going to need more harmonic movements, right? So we're just hanging out on this D. The harmony is pretty much just stuck on D pedal, especially at the beginning here. I suppose we could analyze a different chord progression into this melody. It still sounds like D. There's just harmony. Well, that's sort of like, it could be a 7 chord there. Still, we're not deviating too much from a sort of D pedal. In fact, I can almost hear, maybe I could put in a D pedal underneath the whole thing. So, but in any case, the next parts, I'm imagining, again, for variety's sake, we're going to need to have more harmonic activity. Otherwise, it's going to feel too static. All right, so I kind of like where this is going. I can't stand it. I need a trigger to make those horns sustain. They keep playing. They keep playing short notes when we want long notes. So I'm going to have to just put a little dot in there to tell the computer to actually play legato. It's not legato, it's sustained. Yeah, something like that. My meters are peaking out because I have this latency, low latency mode on. It turns off the limiter there, but that's all right. We're just composing, not mixing. There's not an audio problem. All right, I'll just superstitiously save, even though it's auto-saving. I like where that's going. Bum, 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 dun, dun. It's probably going to need to increase in I'm going to need to get some more attacks. Dun, 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 dun. You know. Dun, 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 dun. So keep that energy moving forward. That's pretty obvious. Let me go back and tweak some. I can see where this is going to go. Let me go back and look at some of the orchestration here. I wanted to look at this trumpet part that I liked so much. That last time needs to be something different. And I'm almost imagining that this third trumpet attack should be different too. That timpani thing that we were making such a fuss over. I was making a fuss over it last time. All right, so we'll copy that out here. I think that's where it goes. And again, you know, doing ideas 3 times the same way tends to make the music boring. So this is the 3rd iteration of this timpani roll. It might be cool to have the last one do something different. I can hear this repeated. I can hear it repeating, sort of decaying away. Let's see if that sounds good. Oh, come on. Wrong rhythm. Bump, bump, bump. We want 1/8 notes, not quarter notes. don't know. I don't know. Yeah, something like that. I don't know if you heard it. I heard it. I think it decays too quickly. So it's a little thing, but it certainly, keeps the interest in there. And we'll come back to that. Always sort of darting around from one thing to another. Again, no sketch, so it's just impromptu. Orchestrating and composing at the same time. This is a good example of something that you hate and then you love and then you hate when you're working, when you're being creative. Sometimes you really love an idea and then you come back and you hate it and then you love it. And at this point, I'm liking this con leño strings violin. Cool. I'm liking the rhythm. I'm liking the sound. I can hear it being doubled out in the winds. So as the texture develops, it would definitely sound good to have that doubled in some kind of high woodwinds. But now that let me flesh it out a little bit. I just want to see what the bass movement is here. Because now we're implying some other harmonies other than just this pedal D. And this little con leño thing should reflect those harmonies. I'm just going to copy this out. I like the rhythm. It might need to change up a little bit, but I'm going to just solo this and hear what would be good to have. To harmonically, what would be good to do? Yeah, so this G here is probably better to. Now, in this type of writing, I'm not so concerned about parallel intervals. I mean, if we were writing some kind of solo choir thing, it depends on the style, right? All the stuff you might learn in voice leading and all of your traditional compositional techniques, it kind of goes in and you learn that stuff and then you apply it when you need it. It's not always good to be, a pedant about making sure every single voice is doing what it traditionally should. So I might get some parallel octaves or something in here, and it's going to be buried so deep in the texture, it might not even matter. If it jumps out to me as being awkward, then I can go back and change it. I kind of like the clash between the G and the F here, actually. So there's that parallel motion between the G here, moving to an F and an F. Maybe I will have that go up to like... I don't know. I think that's kind of working. Now here I am saying not to make it traditional if you don't have to, and I just sort of made the voice leading traditional. Well, you got to do what you got to do. And it is kind of nice that this, if it's, doing something melodic here, that it does reach its peak and it's coming down. It gives it a nice shape. Maybe I'm just doing a post hoc analysis of what just sounds good to me. So we're getting to maybe we do need to come back to this B flat in the violins. Maybe we need a different one. Oh, maybe. Let me get a little bit more going. Oops. And see how this has to develop. Because I can hear this sort of counter melody. I mean, it's not an interesting counter melody, but it is a counter melody nonetheless happening here. And it is going to be buried in there. When it is doubled in the upper woodwinds, when I get there, it's going to pop out a little bit more. But I'm guessing that since these two voices are sort of moving in as a team, then maybe I do need to think through the voice leading a bit more. So we do sort of jump to that octave. I kind of don't want to give away the leading tone, the C sharp here too soon, but let's just hear how that sounds. Actually, I like that. And then maybe just sort of land on octaves. Actually, maybe add another octave, because we're climaxing here. Kind of digging it. So we're going to listen to how that plays out. Timpani in there now. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a better idea. This timpani. See, now it bugged me. Maybe it just needs to be 3 times as it is. 3 times the same. Meh. 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 And, well, let me hear how it's going to sound if I start doubling this with some short woodwinds. Maybe flutes seem obvious to start. Where are my staccato flutes? So I'll start with this, probably short staccato, staccatissimo. It's pretty high. Yeah, this low flute in here is going to be useless. It's not going to provide anything to the texture. And in fact, I suspect that we're going to have to... Well, let's just hear how it sounds. I think that this is going to be a little bit too low. In fact, you might have to just leave this upper flute part and I don't know, maybe move some of these notes into something with a little more penetrating power, like oboe. Let's hear how it sounds. I wasn't expecting to hear the flutes in there. Just sounds too puny. Let's see if we bring up the note velocities a bit. All right, good. So we're getting some color. Hold on. We're getting some color. That's the color I wanted, as I thought this beginning part probably wasn't going to contribute much. In fact, I'm going to just cut it. So we're getting some color here. Getting some color. I think let's just try. I don't want to have the entire range of the instruments fully expanded out just yet, because we are going to be getting bigger. So as the climaxes grow and the tension grows, then you can start making the full range of the instruments, or should I say, like if the lowest orchestral note is here and the highest is here, as the climax increases, we want to make it bigger and wider. So our entire range of pitches gets wider too, and that'll give us some more energy and color and movement and tension. Those flutes just sound a little puny in there. I'm going to just try to cut in some staccato oboes and see if that helps. It might be a little bit too much color. For now, we can put it in the clarinets too. I don't know. Let's hear it. Yeah, maybe we'll save that. The clarinet. We'll save the oboes for a little bit later, but let me hear how this plays out. Pretty squeaky. It certainly fleshes out that woodwind sound, but I fear it's starting to sound a bit like late classical woodwind, like a late classical woodwind sound, which could be cool, but I don't know. Not convinced. Let's move it into the staccato clarinets. This is probably going to be pretty low. Oh no, let's hear it. It might sound interesting with this high clarinet in there. I'm hearing like an accent pattern that I like in there. I think I want to bring that out in the violins a bit more. This sort of accent that gives us a little more expression. This is really just beat one of every measure. And then maybe as it develops, we can add another accent. Yeah, a little more punch. So as it grows, it would be cool. Oh, do I want to accent the second half of beat 2? It's interesting. It's starting to feel like it's in 6. This pattern feels like it's in 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. Yeah, why not? Let's accentuate that. It gives it. It makes it interesting. Wasn't planning on that, but why not? It's cool when your ideas start to talk to each other and inspire each other. That's one of the fun things about writing music, I think. So we get this feeling of 3/4 time in the bottom stuff, and then in the upper stuff we get sort of a 6/8 time signature. That also will add to the tension. Let's see. I mean, I like the pattern, the rhythmic pattern. The actual voicing of these woodwind parts sounds pretty lame. Let me solo it. Yeah. Who's doing what here? So that sounds balanced. Maybe it's here. I know what it is. It's here that we have this wide gap at measure 18. There's sort of a gap in there. So this all sounds balanced. But right there it sounds a little bit exposed, right? Because there's this wide gap in the voicing. Oh, maybe we need something to fill that. Definitely need something to fill that in. Let's take a closer look. Oh, stop it. I mean, that by itself sounds all right. Let's do the same thing here now. Oh, also look at this. So the voicings here in the clarinet are even further apart, but it might be that, well, this is, all this empty space here is sort of filled in by the flute, so that could work. Let's see how it sounds together. We might need to do something similar in the violins. Good, so that's not as exposed sounding. Let's hear how it sounds with the violin con legno, and then I'm going to have to take a break to teach a lesson. I kind of like it. Yeah, there definitely needs to be a little bit more there. It needs to be finessed a little bit. Let me listen through one time and then I have to take a break. Turn off my latency thingamabob. So I know what happens. So it's just because it's incomplete, right? So My trumpets stop. Where are my trumpets? These guys stop. Do not do that. My trumpets stop. Right? Actually, the idea, this very simple idea, was starting to develop, and then I didn't finish it, so I have to go back and finish that. Also, since the woodwinds are kind of developing too, it probably is going to make sense to have this string con legno develop as well. Probably need to bring in second violins and perhaps violas doing something similar, but I'm going to have to stop for now, and I'll be back.